Hello, good morning, everyone. Hello, welcome to Bible Journaling. I am so happy to be back with all of you. Good to have you all on with me. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to be doing a couple of projects, and I have a new release for you guys. I'm really happy about that. And I want to show you guys what it is. So let me say hello to all of you. And for some reason, I am not seeing my comments. So somebody, on here, will you say hi to me just so that I can see if the comments the comments are working? Let me just see if I can just close this and see if I can open it up again here. Okay. Okay, I see Kathy on. All right, good. Me and technology is just we're just like oil and water. Hello to all of you now. I see them coming up. So for some reason, I wasn't getting anything. Good to see my people are on. Thank you guys so much for being on with me. So like I said, I've got some new releases for you. Some new border or margin borders that we're going to make one today that are so fun to do. And especially for those, sometimes there's passages that you just aren't sure what to put in that margin. Okay, these will work anywhere, Old Testament and New. And sometimes in the Old Testament especially, there's places where you're just not sure. And you guys, we want to fill up the Bible. We want to get all of our margins done. so Okay, everyone, I'm seeing all of you on here. So good to have you on. Thank you so much. Also, some new dies, some new border dies. So I'll show that to you too. Those are all available right now. The new set that will be starting on in April, we are waiting on that still. So as soon as that comes into the shop, we will let you know. And post an announcement on Facebook or somewhere to let you know that is in stock. So we are waiting on that. I've just been a little behind lately. So we're waiting for those to come into stock. But the first Tuesday of the month, I think is around the 6th. So we have a little bit of time. So that's coming really soon. So I'm excited to start a new theme. It seems like these quarters go by so fast. They do. And here we are at the end of the love series. So today is the last one, and then we'll be on to the next one, you guys. So that'll be exciting too. So today we're going to finish up in that series, and then we're going to do a sample of that new release of that new margin. So we're going to get to that. But first, let me just say hi to my people who are on here. Okay, so Kathy is on, Terry is on. Hello. This is exciting. It is. It's so much fun to come out with new things, you guys, and especially things that can go in our Bible. And and I especially love it when it's at beginner level. So these things that we've got are beginner level. So if you're just starting, and I know a lot of people are just jumping on and just starting as new, maybe new to watercolor. This is something that you can do if you have no experience stamping, no experience watercoloring. You can totally do this. This is a beginner level. So that makes it really fun too. Okay, let's see. Who am I missing? Sherry, hello to you. Simone, hello. Good morning to you. Debbie, she says, do we have a wedding date news? Yes, April. So Kendra is getting married in April, and she is finishing up now in New Mexico. She'll be finished up this week with her last, I believe she might have one more rotation, but one more, this is her last one in New Mexico. And then she will be home, and then there will be a wedding, and then she has graduation. So really exciting. And those of you who may follow her on Facebook saw that she got her first pick. So she will be going to Idaho. And just so excited to start that program there. So we are all just thrilled for her. So happy to see her hard work all pay off and see where God is placing her. There comes a point where it's kind of out of her hands, and she can rank all of her programs that she loves. and then God will decide. And we have that comfort. We trust our lives to Him. His purpose will be done, and we can bank on that. So we're really excited about that for her. Whirlwind. Kendra's life has been a whirlwind. It definitely has. Oh, Wanda, thank you so much. Welcome and good to have you on here. Let's see. Technology is not my friend. I know. I probably said that 100 times and I'll continue to say it because I'm not getting better at it. I'm just, just tell me exactly what buttons to push and then don't tell me why or what else. I can't, my brain just can't comprehend that. Okay, let's see. Jane, hello. Good morning to you. Good morning to Kristen. Hello, Debbie. Yes, hello to you, Debbie. Good morning to, let's see, Mary. Hello. Okay, looking forward to painting in my new book of Psalms with full blank pages. Yes. Okay, so any page will work. You don't, if you're using, first of all, if you're using the watercolor paper, the peel and stick watercolor paper, that will adhere to any paper. And so will the watercolor ground. So there are two ways to do it. You can prep your page with the primer that is the watercolor ground, brush that on, and prep your page. That can be on any paper. Any paper. It will turn any paper into a watercolor canvas. So don't worry about, doing some of these things in a journal. Maybe you're a little leery about stamping right into your Bible. I get that. Well, you can do it in a journal. So start there. Start somewhere simple. And if you're, you're afraid to stamp on those pages in your Bible, do a practice. Or use the watercolor paper and then pick the one that you love. And then just stick that right into your margin. Let's see. Terry says, exciting for Kendra. Yes, we're all thrilled. Yes, match day. Yes, match day. She had match day this last week and she matched her first choice. So for those of you who don't know, Kendra is going to be a family medicine physician. And she'll be working at a hospital there in Twin Falls or close to Twin Falls, and a wonderful program that she absolutely loves, and where her fiance is. So that's where, they are. And she managed to get that, she got that match. So she will be right there where he is from. So we are just thrilled about that. God is good. He really is. Okay, let's see. Good morning from Colorado. Have a question on watercolor in the Word. Are there any plans to release the 522 exclusive daisies on there? You know what? That specific one was an exclusive for, I believe, scrapbook.com. I believe that's who we did it for. Thinking back now, I'm pretty sure it was them. And so we can't release it as is. However, we can do one that is similar, which will be in the works. So that is on my list, actually. And I love that stamp too. And I love these, which is, a huge reason why I did these larger florals for the margins, because they're made to go in a narrow space. So when I do redo that one, it's going to fit in a margin. It's going to be so much easier to use. So yes, thank you for asking that. Hello, Nima from South Florida. Missed you last week. Yes. Yes. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me and just being able to be flexible with this live. I can't, when it doesn't work out, I just can't cancel it. I have to reschedule it. So it's got to be me on here with you guys. I just love this so much. And it's just such a special thing to me. So thank you for being flexible on that. Yes, Mary says wet photos of the wedding. Yes, they will be coming. Yeah, so Lynn, there are a couple of videos that aren't working. We're trying to get to the bottom of that. And not sure what the problem is, but there have been 2 that have been posted that are we're not able to reload. So we are on that and trying to figure out what what the problem is. And thank you for those of you who have jumped over there and joined that page. So if you don't know, we started a new watercolor page, it's called Watercolor in the Word on Facebook. And it is dedicated to Bible journaling. So the videos that are on there, the comments that are on there are all geared towards Bible journaling. So we've got a lot of new people on there, and it's really fun to see that grow. So if you haven't joined that, hop over and follow us over there too. So we're streaming live on that platform and also our official Facebook page. But this way, those videos aren't just lost. They're going to be much easier to find. So there will be links to our YouTube page, and those videos will be on there, and they won't be disappearing off. So yes, check that out. Watercolor in the Word is the name of the Facebook page. Okay, let's see. Yes, Sharon, we're so happy to have you. Welcome. Good morning good morning, Julie. Good to have you. Good morning, Bo. Welcome. And Renee. Yes, so I was not on last week, so we postponed, and we had to change it over to this week. So thank you all for just staying with me on that. Lynn, thank you so much for that. She says, love watercolor in the Word. So we are still working through some bugs on that Facebook page, but we will get that ironed out. We will. That's been a priority for us, but man, we have had some illnesses and just some rough weeks lately. So it's coming. It's coming, you guys. Let your brain keep... Sharon, let your brain keep creating these beautiful stamps and let others think about technology. That is my philosophy in life. I'm not kidding you. That is exactly what. Thank you for putting it into text. I just will happily hand off the technology to, the younger people in my life and focus on what I do. Good morning, Betty. Good to see you too. Thanks everyone for being on with me. I'm so happy to be on here with you all. So let me switch over now and let's get to our project, and let me show you what is new and what we're going to be doing today. So first of all, this is our last live for this theme. So let me just kind of move everything out of the way. We are finishing up with this. And by the way, all of this stays on our website. So if you're joining, and maybe you're just joining and we're on our last one, this is all going to be on our website, and and the tutorials and everything will stay on our Facebook pages, especially our Watercolor in the Word. So, and our YouTube. YouTube does not delete videos. So these will all be on there. You'll be able to reference all of these. You can reference them by the series and by the theme. So this is the love set. And these will all be categorized so they're easy to find on our new Facebook page. So you can start anywhere. You can start anywhere. We started this, was it a year ago? It was over a year ago that we started. And now we're finishing up. Or was it 2? Wow, you guys. This is series 3, so this is our 3rd year. So some of these older ones, you can go back and reference those, and you can start anywhere. We're just moving forward, but you can just, you can go back and do any of these. Get these stamp sets. These stamp sets will stay on our website so that you can get them anytime. So here we are at the end of this one, of the Love series, and we've got Psalm 86:15, and we've got Colossians 3:12 through 14. And Psalm 86 says, "But you, Lord, are a compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness." And Colossians 3:12 to 14, "Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive each other. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as God forgave you. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity." What a great way to end this this quarter, you guys. So in the stamp set, I think we have used pretty much all of these. We are going to use the little tiny heart bouquets, these two, one here and one here. One swings to the right, one swings to the left, and the little heart frame, this one right here. So we're going to use that today. We're going to be doing this project, and we're going to do it on the new die. So there are two dies in here, and let's just move over and I'll just show you what those are. So this is the first release here, and there are two different ones, and these are made to fit in your margin, so in your Bible or in your journal. And you can see that they just fit right in here like that. Isn't that just so cute? And the little heart is just perfect for this series. So and here's the frame, the little heart frame that we're going to be using, and a simple border that you can use in here. They also come with these words. So we've got grace and faith, hope and loved. So they come in this die set, and you can see how long they are. And I'll show you a couple of samples too that our brilliant design team has created. So I love showing those too. So we're going to make a simple border with this little die cut watercolor paper, and then these two margins are new, and they also fit perfectly in the margin, and they come with the frame. So you can see right here what they look like, and the frame is part of the stamp. However, you don't have to use the frame if you don't want to. You can just ink the border right here. You can just ink that. And if you want to, for example, you want to use that on one of these die cut borders like this. So let's just say you want to use one of these stamp sets in here. Let me just pull this out actually, and then I'll just show you. So they will fit on here without the frame. So in other words, don't ink this outside part. If you want to stamp this on a piece of watercolor paper, a margin like this, and you want to use this frame to cut it out, this die to cut it out, you want to just stamp it on here without the frame. Okay, you can do it before or after. So you can stamp this on some of this watercolor paper, and then you can die cut it after. But just don't use the frame. That's as simple as that, you guys. So here's what it looks like when it's die cut. We're gonna do a project with that. We're gonna also do one of these. So there are two florals, and you can see that they are mirrors. They're mirrors. So a left and a right, and this is so that you can put them on either side of your page in your Bible. And you, like I said, you can use them without the frame or with the frame, and you can also use the frame by itself, which is so cute. But these are so easy. And you guys, if you've been on with me for very long, you know how to color flowers. We've done many different flowers from different sets, and you know how to color them. So this is just an absolute no-brainer for you. We're going to go through it today, but you guys, I'm so confident in you and your ability to just color these. They're so easy. And if you can see, let me just zoom in really close here so that you can see this gold frame, because I inked this frame in the gold, and I just think it's so beautiful. And I think it will be so pretty by itself. So you're just going to, use your stamp platform, and you're going to just ink this with your gold paint. So here's the gold paint I'm talking about, and we'll do it today so that you can see, exactly what it looks like, or I can show you exactly how to add the gold paint to your stamp. So just do your frame, and then you could journal in it, or you could stamp something else in it. I mean, it's just endless what you can do. And also keep in mind that you can use parts of these. So for example, maybe you're just going to ink this part of, this little vine. Maybe you have a smaller area. Maybe you're just going to ink this little part right here. Maybe this little bud right here, and this little floral, and this bud right here. And you can just stop it right here. Stop it at these little leaves, and just leave this little section right here, and then have room to write. Or you just fill up your margin with this beautiful art. Just fill it up. So there's a lot of ways that you can use these, which is what I love about them. So, and this one also, you can use just parts of it. So there are two ways, that I showed this, and it's on the package. And these are available right now, you guys. These are available. This is the peonies. This is 6164. These are available on our website right now. And then this one is the poppies, and this is 6163. And they both have two of these stamp margin stamps in there. So again, like I said, they're mirrors of each other. And this one too. So you can just ink part of it and put that in there. And same with the frame. You can just do the frame by itself, or you can do the florals by themselves. So you can leave that frame off. Kendra's on. You guys can ask her yourself all your questions. Hello to you, Kendra. Welcome. She says she needs this express mail to her in New Mexico because she has 5 minutes right now to do something. Oh, that's awesome. Welcome, Kendra. We're such fans of yours, and we're just so happy to see you on here. So everyone has questions always for you. And congratulations. So anyway, we're going to do one of these. We're going to do this little red poppy set. And then we're going to do this little vine that is on this little margin die. So, and here's how this watercolor works. You guys, you just peel off the back, and just stick it into your margin. And that's where it goes, just like that. So you got a right and a left. So if you want to do a mirror, you know, this also flips like this. So you can do this side as well, over here, this way or this way. So if you're doing these florals and you're using this die, you just stamp this on here without the frame, and then you've got your left and your right. Okay? All right, so, and here's this one. This is 6155. This is the ornate margin dies, and like I said, these are all on here. And then you get these little words also with it. Let me show you the samples I grabbed. So I just grabbed a couple of samples. We have more from our design team, but let me just show you these because they're so beautiful. This is Diane Mason. I'm pretty sure this is Diane Mason. Yes, these are both Diane Mason. And keep in mind, these things are great for cards also, you guys. And look at, she made a bookmark out of it. Isn't that cute? She made a bookmark, and she's got the gold paint on here. You can see the frame with gold paint, and she just did a beautiful job on this. Look at the background. Isn't that cute? And then this one, this card, isn't this cute? Love the gold. It's so cute. And look at, she's got this little pocket in here made out of this little die, which I think is so cute. You could tuck a special note or gift card or something in here, but I always think of Kim when I see the yellow. She would absolutely love this card so much. Yeah, they're so pretty on cards. Look at this. This is Simone, and I don't know if Simone is on. I feel like I said hi to you, Simone. If you're on, you are absolutely amazing. Look at these beautiful cards that Simone has made, and use these die cut words on here. Isn't that beautiful? Look at these peonies with a soft, beautiful ink. This must be that really light pink. What pink is this, Simone, if you're on? Let us know, because look how beautiful this is. And she used her little die on here. It's so cute. Look at this one. Just beautiful. And this one, it looks like she used the gold paint, or she used gold paper to cut out the faith. But just so beautiful. Just an absolutely beautiful job. And look at this one. She's got the little card die cut out. Isn't that just beautiful? So keep in mind these things, you guys, for cards. They're so, if you're stamping one in your Bible, just stamp another one on a piece of watercolor, and you've got a card. Just do them both at the same time. Just do them both. Well, you've got everything out, and you're ready to go. Okay, so let's, here's our two projects that we're going to be doing. So let me grab my pins. Let's start out with a simple one right here, and then we'll go to the poppies. So let me get myself organized. Let me get myself organized here, you guys. Okay, so let me keep this in the screen, and let's just move this to the side. And I'll tell you what we're going to use. So, with these simple little borders, this is just a matter of, I think I used maybe 3 stamps. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 stamps with this. But let's zoom in so that you can see. Aren't these little gold hearts just so cute? This just will class up everything that you do. Just adding this gold paint, and this is it again. This is up there with my P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. This is a very close second now to that. I absolutely love this paint so much. It has gold fleck in it, and you can see it settles. It settles to the bottom, so you want to, shake it up. But I've used this bottle for, I couldn't even count how many things I've done with it, and I still have quite a bit left in it. So it will last. It will last. We have this on our website. But there's something about it. It has this gold fleck in it, and it's absolutely beautiful. I wish it would do it justice on the screen, but those of you who have bought it and used it, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm saying. Let's see. Am I missing any questions? Let's see. Okay, I see Simone is on. Simone, great. You guys tell her how amazing she is. And Diane, if Diane Mason is on, tell her too, because wow, are we thankful to have them on our design team. They are absolutely amazing. Okay, so let's do this. We're gonna need a couple of things. So I picked a simple vine from the very first foliage set. Simple vine, doesn't matter what vine, could be any vine. Anything with that has leaves on it, actually. A vine or something with leaves. The little branch, this one right here, in the branches set. And the little daisy bunch, this one right here. And then, of course, we're using the little heart flowers. We're going to be using those too. So let me just move those over. And we're just going to start out, and I went ahead and cut this out first. If it's easier for you to stamp on, a larger sheet of watercolor paper, do that, and then die cut it later. And then you know that you've got it exactly right into the center. And by the way, look how cute this is. I just did this this morning because I wanted to see what that gold paint would look like on the stitch lines. And isn't that just so cute? I just love that look. Any place to put gold paint now, you guys, just anywhere. They do inspire us, Terry. They inspire me too. They do. Absolutely. They're just brilliant. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is, stamp in our, greenery, and we're going to start out with the little, branches. And this is such an easy little, border. If you don't know what to do, this is a simple little border that works every time, and just change up the colors and it will look different. And put something else in here. If you want a bigger floral, you can do that. Where these hearts are, maybe you have something else that you want to put in there. You can, but this is just a very good base for a simple border, and it works every time. So we're going to just start out with the little branches, and we're just going to stamp it just 1-2 times, just like that, kind of on top of itself, and then leave a little space, and we're just going to go up again like this. And it doesn't have to be, exact. In other words, they don't have to be spaced exactly, the same, which of course I didn't do here. Look how spaced out that is. But it doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter. No one's going to notice. Okay, so now we're going to add in our foliage, and I'm just going to use a little bit of this. So you can see this is kind of an arc right here. We're just going to use just this very top part. So we're just going to ink that. And when you're using a stamp and a marker, you just ink the parts that you want to use. Okay, so we're going to go to the end of the branch, and we're going to just stamp this in, and just guess. Just guess. If you don't get it in the exact same place, it honestly does not matter at all. Just, kind of put it in here. So we're creating foliage on the branch is basically what we're doing. That's basically it. So just kind of guess where that is, stamp it a couple of times, and then do it again, up here. And, sometimes they're going to look the same. Other times they're going to look different. It doesn't matter. Maybe we'll put one up here this time so that they don't all look exactly alike. And then maybe just one more in there. And maybe we'll just put one a little bit lower just because I'm close to the top up here. Okay, so now that we've got those done, we're going to add some water to that. And so the first thing that we're going to do is, of course, dip our brush in water. And just a little bit of water, you guys, half inch will do it. And really get your brush saturated so all the bubbles come to the top. Just get your brush saturated, tap it off, and then pinch it off especially off all the metal. And you can see how flat it is right there. Pinch it off till it's flat. And maybe one more time, especially with this thin watercolor paper, we really don't want there to be much water on the brush. So we want it to be really pretty dry. And after this, you're only dipping the very tip in the water. That's all, just the very tip, just to get a tiny bit of water on it, and then you're gonna pinch it off, okay? And that's what we're doing every time. And it's off camera, you know, but that's what I'm doing. When you see me go over like this and pinch it off, that's what I'm doing, dipping my brush a tiny bit. And now we're just gonna bounce our brush over the top of the foliage, just bounce it. And then I'm just dipping my brush again, pinching it off, and I'm just bouncing my brush onto the greenery. You don't have to, you know, color these little leaves separate. You don't have to do that. Just bounce your brush. You know, because we've got light and dark ink on here, so we've got two impressions. So we've got the first one that's the darkest, and then we've got the second. And the dark one sort of comes forward, and then the light one will fade back. And you'll have something that looks three-dimensional. Okay, and then I usually always just drag a little of this green out just to give a little bit of background. So I just kind of drag it out of the leaves to the side and to the top and just kind of spread it out a little bit. Okay, that's all we're doing on that. And now we're going to add the flowers in. So that's the little daisies, these right here. And you just kind of want to put them in randomly. So we've got space here in the middle. So we're for sure going to put one in kind of in that space. And then we'll add our little flowers to it later. So I'm using a bright blue. This is the 407. We're going to use this. And we're just going to ink this whole thing up. And we're just going to start out with these little florals. And you can see that I'm stamping it in a circle. So in other words, not just once like this, but I'm going to go around in a tight little circle. And then let's get another one. Maybe we'll put this one a little closer over here. And then maybe this one will just be a small one up here. So now I'm just going to do some small ones. I'm only going to ink a couple of these. So I'll just kind of clean this off a little bit, and I'll just ink a couple of these little ones right here. And I'll just kind of fill these in. So same technique. It's just that I'm only inking 3 of them. So let me just zoom in so you can see. So there are 6 really. There are 5 blooms on this stamp. There are 5 little blooms. And we inked the whole thing when we first stamped it. And now we're just inking these 2 and this little grouping of dots right here. So just think about dividing this in half and only inking this little section right there. And that's how we get these small little blooms. Just like that. And let's just put another one down here. So we'll add a little more color to that one. And we'll add a little more there, just so that we're kind of, you know, spacing this out a little bit, so that and basically what I'm doing is kind of filling in those areas that were a little farther apart, spaced farther apart. Okay, now we're going to add water to those same way. And you're just going to bounce your brush on these. And you'll see that color come out. So again, the lighter color from the second, third, fourth impression, that will kind of fade back. And this will look like, they look like hydrangeas, don't they? Just the easiest thing to do, you guys. Just absolutely the easiest. And drag this color out too. You can kind of mix it in with the green a little bit. Just drag it out into the background. It'll just create a really pretty effect. And then be sure to leave some white spaces. So don't color everything in solid. You know, that's the last thing that we want to do. In fact, let me just show you here. This is really important. This is really important. So if we ink it one time, so let's ink it there. And that's in a tight little circle. This is about the size of a dime right here. So about the size of a dime. And you're going to go in a tight little circle on top of itself. Just like that. So not like this. Not like this. You know, not like that. In a tight little circle like this. And then when you ink just a few, you're going to do the same thing. And it's just a smaller circle. and you're just going to get a smaller bloom like this. Okay, so when you add water to it, you know, pinch your brush off. If you just go in a circular motion like this, you see what happens? You're just going to lose everything. It's just not going to look the same. So what you want to do is bounce your brush over it, pinch it off, bounce your brush over it, and leave some of those white spots. And you can see the difference. See those dark ones coming through? And this is just gonna work every time. And then once you've got that, take some of these lighter areas out here and just drag some of this color out to the outside. Okay, and avoid this always. This is too much water anyway. And if you see this happening, you know, where you're losing your lines like this, it just means you have too much water. Pinch your brush off again a couple of times so that you don't end up with too much water on here. Okay, that's really the only thing that you have to remember. Everything else is just so simple. Okay, so we're going to just keep going here. And we're just going to finish up with these little flowers. And just jump your brush around. Remember to just leave those white spaces so that we don't get them all colored in solid. Okay, how simple is that? And then we're going to go in and put in the hearts. But first, let's do these little hearts. So we're going to just use two colors. So we're going to use the bright pink, which is the 725, and then we're going to use the green, the 177, which is the green that we've used in here. This is the green, the 177. So let's ink the stems. So we're going to ink the stems in the green, and then we're going to ink the little hearts in the pink. Okay, and these can just go just anywhere in here. They're just little accents, and they'll just give you a pop of color. So let's do it again. And you can put as many of these in as you want to. So let's just put another one over here, and then let's change directions. And we'll go over on this side. So maybe we'll just put some over here, and we'll just add a couple more over here. So it doesn't, you just put them wherever you want to. And then just touch that little heart with your brush, just to kind of let that color just bleed out a little bit. Stay in the shape of the heart, but just touch it and let that color just darken up. Okay, so we're going to set this aside, and then we'll do the gold paint at the end. So let's go on to our other project, which is the, let me show you, which is this one. This is the poppies, the poppy margin set. So let me zoom out just a little bit. And this is how I inked it. And of course I used a stamp platform. So a stamp platform like this, you guys, and stamped it on here. And I did all of these individually. So all of these little blooms, I just inked one at a time. And then, when you're using these clear stamps, get them colored first, because it's hard to see. It's hard to see where everything is. So let me just show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. And where is that stamp? You guys, I don't know where stuff goes, but it just goes. Disappears. Okay, well, that's disappeared. But look at the back here. You can see, well, I guess that's got a dark, where is that? Oh, here it is. Okay, so you can see when you're trying to color these things, do you see how clear this is? It's hard to see where the flower is sometimes, where the leaves are, where these little buds are. Get color on it. Once you just color the whole thing if you need to. I do that a lot of times. I'll just color the whole thing and then, clean that color off. And it stained my stamp enough that I can see where everything is. So sometimes they're hard to see, but if you do that, you'll be able to see. Like I can see right now where my florals are on here. So I inked every one of these flowers, by themselves, and then I went back in and did all the foliage. So all the leaves. So two colors. So the red, 856, and the green, the 177. So those two colors. Okay, she says, what I do. Oh, when I do this type of worship, I hear do small things with great love in my mind. Yes, absolutely. And they don't have to be elaborate things, you guys. Sometimes we just don't have time for that. But you want to put some sort of marker in there. And you can also stamp these things, pre-stamp them, and just leave them. You could leave this, you could just leave this, put it on a shelf and leave it, because as soon as you add water to it, it's going to activate the color again. It's going to come back. So maybe you're going on a trip and you can pre-stamp a whole bunch of things, especially on this watercolor paper. And then you can just work on it, when you're gone. And that will work like crazy. It'd be great. So anyway, you can come back to these things and use bits and pieces. Small areas of these margins are going to work great. Okay, so let's set these here so that you can kind of see what we're doing. We'll just put these into the screen, and then we're gonna take this flat image and we're gonna make it look like this, you guys. Okay, so I've got I've got my water here, and we don't need any other color yet. We're gonna come and add a little bit more. We're gonna add a little bit more color to our image here, but we're gonna do that later. So, anybody have any questions? Suska is on. Hello, Suska. Diana says, "What pink is that?" You mean the pink that I just did? Okay, Diana, let me tell you. It is the 725. 725. Okay, Julie says, are these sets only available this week? No, they will be on our website. Nope, you can get them anytime. Okay, you guys, I'll keep checking for questions. I used to have Sharpies to color the stamp before using Tombows. Yeah, okay, Barbara, that's a good idea. So she's saying she just used Sharpies, which will for sure stain your stamp. And then you can see, because it's, or maybe it's just me too that has a hard time seeing, but everything looks the same on it. And especially when you're wanting to color things individually like this, because it's really important. Unless you're going to do maybe a blue floral, you could color the whole thing green and then just color the flowers blue on top, because that will totally blend together. But something like red and green, you're going to have to ink those separately. Okay, so we're going to start out by pulling the color out of the line. So let's just start at the bottom down here, and we're going to just drag the color out. And you guys know already that the darkest color is where the petals connect to the base of the flower. And you can see this petal right here is in front. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to zoom. You know what? Let's just zoom in a little bit closer too. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. So here's where that darkest color is going to be. And don't worry about letting these details bleed out. That's totally fine. We're going to come back in with a permanent black, and we're going to put these back in. So it's totally fine to take that color, let that color bleed out. And again, darkest in here at the center. So again, see how this petal is connected here? That's where it's the darkest, is right in here, where it's connected. And then the edge of the petals, those should be pretty white. You're gonna leave those pretty light, pretty white. And you can, depending on how dark you color your flower, as long as this area in here is darker than this area out here, it's going to look like that petal is pulling up, and it's going to look three-dimensional. That light, this white area, basically all it's doing is just catching the light. And it's just making it look like this flower is kind of bent and has a contour to it. So see again, now here at the bottom of this one, this is where we're gonna put that color, is at the very bottom of this petal that's kind of bent over. And then under it is where that's gonna be the darkest. See under here where this petal connects. And take your time with this. This is just the first pass. We're going to go in and add a little bit more color, but you can see how that's starting to really show that light edge of the flower. You know, these, just going to try to leave just a little highlight on that, these little buds, because they're, you know, they're contours, so they would have just a little bit of a highlight on them like that. And then in here, and by the way, I didn't stamp these off. So when I ink these florals, and I use my stamp platform, I ink these florals, I did not stamp them off on another paper. So I just stamped it right onto my canvas. So you can see I'm pretty much leaving these lines alone that are on the outside of the flower. I'm really not touching those with my brush. I'm not pulling any color out of there. And see this little lip that's hanging over? That's going to be light. Because we can't really see where that's connected to the base of the flower. And because it's folded over, that's going to catch the light. Got another little bloom right here. And another one here. And again, same thing with this little petal kind of bending over. And just to pull that color from the center of the flower, just pull that out. And again, this area in here is going to be the darkest. And now we've got a flower that used to be flat. And you can see how much contour it has now. And it's just about the way that you know, pull the color out and just a few little tiny rules, that's all. Now this one is kind of bent over, so it's got this little lip right here. And so we're going to leave that really light. And this one back here in the background, this one's going to be pretty dark. You can see my brush is pretty dry. Okay, so we've got our first pass on here. And look how simple that was, you guys. It's just so easy. Just super simple. So now let's add a little bit of color to our florals. So we're going to add some of this to the palette. And this is the 856. Oops, 856. And we're just going to add a little more color. We're going to add the color close to the base of the flower. Now, if you're applying the color onto here and you can see it kind of puddle a little bit, you've got too much water. So you want to pinch your brush off right away. And that's exactly what I had on here. I just had a little too much water. So now we're going to apply that color where it's the darkest. So just down in here, not to the edge, but just down in here where it's connected. And then just, you know, kind of gradually drag it to that lighter part. And it's okay to leave areas that are not colored. It's okay to do that. You have permission. And you know, it's better not to color everything in line to line. It just is. You're going to be so much happier with how it looks if you leave some highlights. Because things that are flat, you know, think about something flat that's laying on the ground. It doesn't have any highlights because it's flat. And that's what happens when we don't put those in, is we end up with something that gives the impression of being flat. So we're just, you know, I'm just applying the color and then I'm just kind of dragging it to the edge. And, you know, it looks a little blotchy, but I think that it just makes it look more realistic. And the more coats of color that you put on, the darker it's going to get. So that's also up to you. Maybe you like this really light kind of pastel look. well then just keep your florals, just do one or two passes and just leave it. You can also come back the next day, which I've also done many times, come back the next day and think, I really want to make that darker, and just add some more color to it. So you can see I'm just doing all of these the same. I'm applying that color where it's the darkest, up here. And then just, you can pinch your brush off and just kind of drag it up so it's not too dark, and it just gets lighter as it gets to the top. And I'm just kind of pushing that paint. You notice I'm not doing strokes like this. So it's just a little different. I'm not doing strokes. I'm just kind of dragging that color with my brush. My brush is really pretty much flat on the canvas, and I'm just kind of moving that color around. And then you really can't get this too dark in here. You really can't. It's going to drag those petals down to where they connect and turn that flower. And it's kind of like magic, you guys. But you can do these beautiful florals in your Bible, and you don't have to stress out about it. They're going to turn out great. They're going to look beautiful. Okay, so now let's do the foliage. So we're just going to pull this color out just like we did before. Pull the color out of the lines. Just be careful always that you don't get too much water. It's better to have your brush a little too dry than to have it too wet. And just, take your time. So it's so much fun. And it's much more fun when you're not stressed about messing it up. And it's going to turn out. So just keep working your way. And the other one, by the way, is the same exact way. It's going to be the same exact way. You're gonna color it just like you do this one, and then change out the color. These are poppies, but you can make these whatever color you want, and that also will change it up in your Bible and make it look totally different, just by making these yellow. How cute would that be? And you can add a background. So in other words, you can drag some of this color out and create this background on here, or you can leave it. You can just leave it and have more of a clean look. But see how cute this is even without the border. So it's much smaller, but it will be so useful just even without the border. Okay, so now we're going to add some more green, and we're going to do that with the 177. So 2 colors on here, you guys. That's about all we're going to need. And then if you want to add something into the background, then you can do that with one of the blues. You can add a little blue in here. Okay, so again, make sure you don't have too much water, and we're just going to darken and try to do the same thing. Just leave some little white spaces. If you've kind of got a bigger leaf in here, just try not to color, anything all in solid. That's just always going to be a goal, just to kind of keep that in mind. And they don't have to be perfect. No one's going to focus on a single leaf. you know, or a single bloom petal. And you can use the other green too. So if you like that cooler, you can switch that up. But everything is done the same way. All of the florals that we do are done the same way. And that's because we're trying to make them all look three-dimensional and realistic and quick. And you can come back here again, you know, and make another pass and have some even darker areas in here where you can just add a little bit more darker color. But that's really all we have to do with that. Okay, so now if you want to, you can add some background color, which is kind of what I did here. So I did that with this blue. So the 565, and I'll just show you how to do it, and then it's kind of up to you if you want to do it this way. So I just take a little bit of this color and just kind of apply it just, you know, with little spots. Just kind of here and there. You know, maybe just kind of in here. I'll just drag some of this color out just to kind of muddy it up a little bit. And don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Just kind of drag it out. Maybe we've got a little bit in here. And then maybe just a little bit down here. Be careful with the red. If you're using red, you know, that will bleed out, and red, it can be a little hard to control. So I would try to keep, if you're going to do this background, try to keep the color close to the greenery, because the green and the blue are going to just blend together beautifully. But sometimes that red. Now, if you're using something like purple or maybe a really warm blue, that will be different. So that's really all you have to do is just something simple like that. Okay, so now let's put back in, and I see I did not grab my, I have little orange centers in here. So let's just use the pink. So I'm just using, this is the 725, and I'm just going to take the bullet tip and I'm just going to add a little pink, just because I don't have my my orange. I didn't grab it. And just again, leave just a little highlight in the center. Actually, that's really cute. I like it. Cute pink. All right, and then we're going to take a permanent. Now make sure it's a permanent, especially if you want to go back later and add more color to it. Take a permanent black, which is what this is, this little micron, and just put these lines back in. Put the little dots back in and just put these little black lines. And don't stress about this either. So easy. And we'll do this one up here. And one more. Okay, isn't that just so cute, you guys? It's just, and it looks realistic because of the highlight and the dark center. That's what does it. Just that, those two things. And that's why it's so easy to remember how to do it. That's how you would color every flower. And you can see this one, same. Darker color in where they connect to the petal, where they connect to the flower. So each petal, do each one individually. And then if you do decide, if you use this watercolor or alcohol-based marker, if you decide to come back and, you know, add a little color back in here, you're not gonna bleed that line. See how you can just come back and just add that? You know, sometimes, you know, later I'll come back, even after it's already glued in, I'll come back and just want to do something to it. Maybe that's just me too. But sometimes it's hard for me to be satisfied with things being finished. Okay, so let me show you how to apply the gold paint, and you're going to do the same way with the border. So let me zoom out of here. And let me grab my stamp platform. Highly recommend one of these, you guys. I'm probably going to say that in every tutorial, but I highly recommend one of these. Just because, especially if you want to get everything just perfect, you know, in here. And you don't want to have a mistake. So just put your, whoops, not this one. This is the one that that's done already. So here's the one that we want to add the gold to. So the frame is going to be the exact same way. And when I did the frame, I just did little parts at a time. So I just came in here and I just, you know, added a little gold paint to the corner and stamped that. And if I liked it, then I went on to the next section. And that way you don't worry about it drying. If you try to ink this whole thing with the gold paint, it's gonna dry before you can even stamp it. So just do little sections at a time. It's okay to do that. And it takes a little bit of time, but you're gonna get it perfect. It's gonna be perfect. And then it's gonna be really easy to just put in your Bible. Okay, so we're gonna add in that little heart, and it looks just like this. And we're just gonna put it in here just however. So let me see where my other here is. So I've got my little magnets in here, and I'm just going to turn it a little bit just to add a little more interest. And now I can close this, and let me just move everything out of the way, you guys. And actually, I kind of need a white background here so you can see. Okay, so I've got my little margin all set and stationary with my magnets. So now I'm going to shake this up. So shake it up until you can kind of see the bottom, or stir it. You can get a little stir stick and stir it too. And just shake it up. Get this out of the way here. Okay, so now I'm going to open this. And I'm going to just take a little bit of this white or this gold paint, and I'm going to just brush it onto the heart. You don't have to be careful. Just brush it on like that, and then quickly before it dries, stamp it onto your canvas. And can you see that? How cute that is? And it looks like I need just a little bit more down here at the bottom, so I'm going to just hit it again with this. Add just a little bit more at the bottom. Okay, and that looks pretty good. And that's just how you do it. That's how you do it. And we can move up to the next one. Oops. We can move up to the next. Let's do one more. So I'm just going to kind of clean this off so it doesn't get any residue on here until I get it placed where I want it to be. And let's turn this one a little bit this direction. Okay. Oops, let's add this back on. Same thing again. So we're just going to take that gold paint again and just take, just dip it in here. Make sure you're getting gold on your brush. There's always gold that collects around the rim, so I always take some of that too. And then just get all of this area with your brush. It's okay if it overlap or it kind of gets on the sides. That's totally fine. That's not going to mess anything up. Press it down. And now we have the second one in there. Isn't that cute? So cute. We might as well just do one more and then we'll be finished here. So let's move this one up. And we'll set this one. Maybe we'll just turn this one a little bit more this direction. So let's just do this one. Okay. So cute. And you could even add a couple of more in here. Or just one. One also would be really, really cute. So you can see that gold paint. So you're going to do the same thing, the exact same way with the frame of the margin. So the margin stamp. So you're just going to do the same exact thing. Just color, each little section. I would probably do this section and then make sure I got that right. And then I would do this one. And you could just work your way around. And then you have your gold frame already done. So cute. You can also stamp it in a color too, you guys. And if you look at the sample of this one, let's move this out of the way now. If you look at the sample of this one, you can see the color. Let me zoom in here. So I stamped this in the dark blue. So that's this one, the 565. So the 565, stamped it in that. And then I pulled the color out of the lines. And do you see what happened? It raises this up. It raises this little border up and creates this lift. It's just because we put a shadow under it. So you can do it that way too. And I think that looks really good. And then you can come back and add gold paint to it. You could just have gold paint everywhere. So let me show you again what these are. And like I said, these are available on our website and they will stay. So this isn't a limited offer. These are going to stay on here. You can get them whenever. But they are new. So this is 6163, the poppy, 6164, the poppy margin, or the peony, and then 6155, which is the new die cuts with the words in here. Okay, so Zilla, hello Zilla, welcome. So let me switch over. And I want to leave you with a scripture. So you guys, thank you so much for being on with me today. I want to leave you with a scripture this morning. And the reason I picked this is because my sister Lorraine passed away this last week. And she some people have so much, and it's hard to come to terms with that sometimes. And maybe someone like that. Maybe it's you who's had just every day is a struggle. That's how it was with her. She spent 60 years, well, she just turned 70 last month, last month she turned 70, but 60 years of her life were a struggle. Just, countless medical issues, countless surgeries. She just had a hard life. And, some people just have so much. And that was her. But she loved Jesus and she loved her Bible, read it every day, and spent the last 20 years in a group home and just never was mad at God for her circumstances. And so I want to read you these scripture verses. So this is from Paul in 2 Corinthians. And this is Paul, who had a really difficult life. I mean, he was shipwrecked, he was beaten, he was in danger, he was imprisoned. And he writes these words, and it says in 2 Corinthians 4, 16 to 18. So we do not lose heart. Though our outer self is wasting away, our inner self is being renewed day by day. For this light and momentary affliction is preparing us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison, as we look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal. And I remember when we were sitting in Lorraine's room, and she, she was just hours away. And I just remember thinking, you are minutes maybe away from seeing Jesus. Minutes. And all of this is going to be forgotten. It's over. It's all over. It's all going to be forgotten. And the second you see Jesus, all of those tears are wiped away. All of that pain is gone. And somehow it's worth it. Somehow. And some of these things, like, we just can't understand. And I could never understand why my sister had so many things. And truly, every day was a struggle for her. Every day. My mom passed away 20 years ago. My sister missed her every day. And it was just hard. And like I said, maybe you know some people like that. Maybe it's you. And every day is a struggle, but somehow it's going to be worth it. And we have this promise. And my sister knows this now. She's proof of this. The eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison. There's no comparison to what the hope is that we have in Jesus and when we are with him for eternity. So I wanted to share that with you. We are, obviously when someone is gone, it's a loss, but when that person has loved Jesus their whole life and are now, in his presence with his arms around her, it's a celebration. And like I said, some of these things we're just not going to know. We're not going to understand why some people suffer more than others. And you know what? We're not going to get through life without hard things. We're going to have hard things. But some people just have such a hard life. But God knows. He does, and he's faithful. And we have this hope to look forward to. So you guys, I wanted to share that with you. Thanks for being on with me. Thanks for your kind words always. And God bless you. God bless you all.